Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in. It's Hunt and Hill on a Thursday. The Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studio. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I am Hunt Palmer. That is Hill, Jeremy Hill. We've got an army of a production team back there making us tick. We're fired up to talk to you today and hang out for the next 2 hours. Sharif Ishak going to jump aboard here at 12:15 in the next segment to talk Saints from down there in Metairie. We'll have to meet the freshmen, obviously, to start hour two. Corey Kiner and Xavier Carter today. And we'll debut a new segment at 1:15 called Throwback Thursday. Going to dive deep, real deep, into classic LSU games. We'll do that at 1:15. And Michael Ford, former Tiger running back, will join us at 1:30. Jay Hill, they put the pads on today on the Ponderosa. I got a feeling there's going to be some real juice out there.
Oh, yeah. I can already see the DBs talking their noise. I can already see the receivers talking their noise, trying to get it out there. There's going to be a lot of competitive fire. I can't wait to get out there today.
When you think about that, what players do you think of that you played with that couldn't wait to put them on and start running their mouth?
Oh, Tyron, dude. Tyron be starting, dude. He be starting at the apartments. He started on the way to practice, and he's yapping the whole throughout the practice. So he brought the juice, man, and it hasn't been a guy like that in a long time. But, man, Tyron, I remember him just talking a lot of noise.
So I do pre- and post-game with Brandon Taylor and have for the last 3 years, and I used to go watch their DB room with Coach Cooper over there in 2011. It was Brandon Taylor. It was Eric Reed. It was Morris Claiborne. It was Tyrann Mathieu. It was Thorold Simon. It was Ron Brooks. Those guys, I don't think they stopped laughing the entire practice I was out there. Yeah. Like they just never stopped talking, never stopped laughing. It was a really special room. I mean, a lot of those guys did a lot of great things on the college level and the pro level, but they're a different breed over there in the DB room.
Yeah, the DBs, man, you saw that at practice. Coach has to tell them, calm down and stop talking back. They got an answer for everything, seems like. But then, man, those DBs bring that swag. That's why we're DBU, man. You got to respect it.
Well, let's go to the other side and talk about wide receivers to start the show today. We've kind of looked at a position group every day this week and wanted to get to the wide receiver room today. Look, it's pretty obvious who the leader is in that group. Kayshon Boutte is coming off of a spectacular end to his freshman campaign, setting the yardage record in the game against Ole Miss. He is the alpha in that room moving forward. Terrace Marshall is gone. Obviously, Jamar Chase moved on as well. It's Kayshon Boutte and then a lot of guys. So let's start with him first and how you think he'll fare as the surefire number one target on this offense.
Yeah, you see it out there every day at practice. He's the number one guy. He's first to run routes, first to catch patches from Max, and he's getting the most reps, and he's being a leader. You can see the way he's talking. He knows how important it is to get that rapport with Max. He knows how important it is to go out there and win the day every day and be that true number one receiver. And like I said before, I think he can be a Biletnikoff finalist, all-SEC, All-American guy. He's going to have a sensational season if he can stay healthy. So I'm excited to see what Kayshon can do.
No one's going to mistake me for a scout anytime soon. I'm not that. But I do watch tape of the highlight of the guys in high school as they come in. It's part of the Meet the Freshman segment we do every single day. But and when I watch receivers, if I see them take a bubble screen or a slip screen and then outrun all the high school kids, like, okay, that's fine. I figure you can do that. That's great. If I see him return a punt against a bunch of linemen who can't run him down, that's great, but I expect you to do that. What really jumps off the page when a high school kid fundamentally runs routes, gets in and out of breaks, catches the ball with their hands, creates separation, high points the ball, all those things that aren't necessary at the high school level because you're just better than everybody else. Yeah. You do. He is that guy. He was that right out of high school. You could see it. He was a technician. He knew how to run his routes, and I knew that it would translate. And all of a sudden, at the end of the year, after the entire receiving corps is gone, you lose Gilbert, you lose Chase, you lose Marshall, everybody's out. He stepped up, and he was ready to go. The question becomes now, what's behind Kayshon Boutte? There are veterans. There's a youth movement. There's a lot of options, but where do you want to start there?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of options. I think you can go Kirkland, you can go Jenkins, but I want to see those younger guys kind of get a bigger role. I think they're making more splash plays. Those guys, if you've kind of seen those guys in this offense, yes, they've made plays, but I think these younger guys can really be electric, starting with Malik Neighbor, starting with Hilton, starting with Brian Thomas. I think those guys deserve a lot more reps, and I want to kind of see what they can do in some real season play. So I'm excited, man. Like the DB coaches keep saying, Stingley's not going to play offensive snaps for a reason because we got so much depth, young and old.
The young guys are all different. There's 4 of them, and if you count Besh, but we're not going to count him in this discussion. But he's different from the rest of them anyway. So we talked about Malik Neighbors in our second day of Meet the Freshman, and how physical he is, how strong he is, how filled out he is. He's a bully at wide receiver, even though he's not the tallest guy. We compared him to Jarvis. That's kind of his game. When we had Tommy Moffitt on in our first show, he said if he was putting a 4x100 relay team together on this team, Chris Hilton would be on it. He is a track star, a sprinter, and he's still got some size to him. He was an incredibly productive wide receiver for his time in high school. Then you go to Brian Thomas, and you notice him out there because he is the one who's got that 6'3", 6'4" frame and is a really, really good athlete for sure. And then Deion Smith, for me, he's wearing 6, so he's and he's D. Smith, but he kind of looks like Devontae Smith a little bit. He's got these really long arms. He's not as filled out maybe as some of the other guys, but certainly was the best player in Mississippi last year. So, if you had to pick one of those guys to make a breakthrough, where would you go?
Oh, I think I'm going to go Brian Thomas because he's a name I keep hearing at camp. He's a name that the coaches keep telling me, hey, keep watching this kid, and he has all the prototypical size you would want out of a wide receiver. He's filled out. He's long. He can high point those balls, and he can run routes too. I think he's a sneaky route runner. He can create a little bit of separation. So I want to see him get some more reps and kind of see what he can do if he gets that role.
He's got the most Terrace Marshall, Racing McMath in him of the crew. There's a lot more Jamar Chase's and body size and type of game, not to that level yet, but he's the one who stands out with the size. Now let's go and flip things over to the veterans. Jeray Jenkins last year played all 10 games, had 23 catches, so about 2.5 a game, averaged 17 yards a catch, scored a couple of touchdowns, and then you go down the list a little further to Jontre Kirkland, who's one of the best athletes on the team in terms of just what he can do physically. Basketball, jumping, run. He's just a great athlete, and he's an older guy. He played high school quarterback. He played all 10 games, 13 catches, averaged 14 yards a catch, and he scored 3 touchdowns as well. We know those guys because they've been around. Do you believe that Coach O and Mickey and Jake Peets are going to lean on those guys early, specifically the UCLA game, or do you think they're going to throw those young guys right in the pool?
I think they're going to lean on those guys early. I think there's something about veteran guys who can kind of show you the way to do things, show you the way to line up, know the offense, know where to be, know how to get there, and know how to play in this offense. And I think they're going to lead the way for these younger guys, but they better be looking over their shoulders because there's so much talent in that room, so many young guys who can come in and steal snaps from them. But I think early on in the season, I definitely see them taking the lead and getting most of those snaps. But don't be shocked if some of these young guys come take some snaps for them.
2 more guys to mention that we haven't gotten to. That's Coy Moore and Trey Palmer. Cousin Trey, very close. Coy Moore last year did play in all 10 games, 22 catches. He missed practice what's today, Thursday? On Tuesday. But that's not supposed to be serious. That's a guy who was a highly thought of recruit. And then Trey Palmer, I want to talk about him a little bit later, but Coy Moore, does he fit into the group with Jontre Kirkland and Jeray Jenkins?
I'm not sure. I saw him a little bit last year. I don't know. Like I said, man, this room is so stacked. I don't know how many snaps they're going to find for him this season with so many young guys coming alive and then also with Kirkland and Jenkins. I would hope that he can make some plays, but at this point, I just really don't see how many snaps they can put him in right now.
So Trey Palmer's out there, and they were going through one-on-ones on Monday when we were out there, and he went out. And you could hear one of the players, I couldn't tell who because they got helmets on, you can't tell who's talking, but one of the players said, "He got no moves. He's just going to run a fade. He's just going to run straight." And Trey, to his credit, did get off the jam and ran a route over the middle and made the catch and made a good play out of it. But that's rooted in some truth, that there's some thought out here that this guy is one of the fastest guys out here. Tommy Moffitt would have put him on that 4x100 relay team, but he's not necessarily the most polished route runner. That's one where you put on the high school tape. He's just running by everybody, which is great, but you got to be a little bit more technically sound. Heading into his 3rd year now, what do we expect from him?
Yeah, I definitely see him back there returning punts. That's where I would love to see him and kick returns as well. I think that's going to be his specialty. And then also in the offense, running those jet sweeps. Yep. I saw them giving him those jet sweeps, kind of like the Skylar Green role. I kind of see him in that role. I don't really see him as a true natural receiver to this point, like a true route runner, a guy who can create separation, especially against high-level elite SEC DBs. I don't think he's there yet. but that's why we're in camp. He's working, like you said, he's working on running routes across the middle, and that's what he's going to have to do to really play snaps. You saw Kayshawn towards the end of the year. He started running those deep end routes, and that's what he was making house calls on, and that's what you have to do. That's what guys don't want to do, especially guys at his size. So if he can continue to kind of build his route tree up, he can definitely get some more snaps because of his speed.
And you're exactly right. He's working on it. He's out there every day working on that route running, and the talent, the speed is very much there for Trey Palmer. His hands are fairly good. It's just a matter of getting that route running down. So this conversation, we've talked about Kayshawn Butte, Jeray Jenkins, John Trey Kirkland, Coy Moore, Trey Palmer. That's 5 veterans that are coming back. Then you have the 4 freshmen, and then you've got Jack Besh. That's 10 guys we just ran through. And I'll use this analogy. I've talked to Jacob Hester about this in the past. It's just a crazy coincidence how life is. But when I was in 3rd grade, if you did something good, you got to put your name on a raffle ticket and put it in the bucket. Got a good grade on a test, did something nice for somebody, helped the teacher, whatever it was. If you did something good, you got to draw your name on a raffle ticket and put it in the bucket. On Friday at 2 o'clock, she drew out of the bucket, and if you got picked, then you got a prize. And the point being, the more times you got a ticket in the bucket, the better your chance was. And every single time, Katie Tilley, who is now Katie Hester, married to 18, would win because she always had more. And I was kind of a goody-goody growing up. I didn't get in trouble that much. And I felt like I had a pretty good chance every Friday, but Katie always won because she always did more. This receiver room has so many raffle tickets in that bucket that you're going to pull out a couple of hits. Like, that's just the way I feel about this. It's the opposite at quarterback where there's only 2 guys, at tight end where there's 2 guys. There are so many guys capable of making plays in this room, 10 we just listed, that I just don't have much concern about it. Like, they're going to find 3 guys who can make plays. I don't have any doubt.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this situation when you have a receiving room with so much depth. And that's kind of why I'm kind of worried about some of the older guys. It kind of stinks for them, but some of these young guys are going to steal some reps from them. They're not going to get as many targets and receptions as you would think. And I think for me, I find the best 3 and I ride them out, and then you kind of get them out of the game when they're tired, because I think some guys are going to step up. I keep saying Malik Neighbors. I'm not going to be shocked if it's him, but there's so many other guys in that room. So that's a great problem to have for the offense, and Max is going to have some weapons to deal out to because that's what he specializes in, getting the ball out fast.
We started the segment talking about how receivers and DBs are a little bit different bunch. There's one football, and there's 4 of them that can go out there at a time. We're talking about 10 guys. How does Mickey keep these guys happy?
That's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. When you think about it, it's going to be hard. And then you got to think there's going to be running backs out the backfield getting their routes too. So they're going to be eating up some of those touches. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot. But honestly, it's a great problem to have. That's a problem you want to have going into the season. So much talent, so many guys with so much potential to make plays. It's a great problem to have for Jake Peetz in the offense.
It's going to be a talented room. I'm excited to get out there and watch them in some pads today. Let's take a quick time out here. Come back in the next block. Talk something a little less optimistic these days. Black and Gold report from Sharif Ishak down there from WDSU. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Le posso offrire un caffè?
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Without a doubt, they provide the best quality you're going to find, as Mr. Stewart has earned his GIA Certified Diamond Graduate designation, meaning he, as an expert, is on hand to appraise, design, build, and repair pieces. Financing options are available as well. Selassie Jewelry and Fine Gifts in the heart of Denham Springs.
Hey, Baton Rouge, it's Peter Burns. Join me and Katie George every Sunday morning at 6 for Best Week Ever right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We never set foot in the dealership. Bayou Ford makes it so easy.
Shop BayouFord.com. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Coming up on a Thursday edition of Early Line with Mario and Musso, we look ahead to the weekend's action and continue to get ready for the upcoming football season with some more NFL and college football win totals. Tune in 2 to 3 p.m., 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Let's head on down I-10 to Metairie, New Orleans general area. Sharif Ishak, my good buddy, works for WDSU, covering the Saints down there. Sharif, how we doing?
Well, nice and hot, man. Nice and hot.
That's the least of the Saints' concerns at this point. Through a few weeks, what's the biggest story in Saints camp to you?
Where do you want to start?
I think that's what I'm asking you, Sharif.
All right, let's start with quarterbacks because I think that's where everybody wants to talk about, and then I think number two will probably be Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
So, quarterback battle, it's I hate to cop out here. Literally, it has been dead even throughout the entire 13 practices. Taysom and Jameis have a good practice and then have a bad practice. They alternate with running with the ones, and the other one will run with the twos. Yesterday, Jameis had an amazing deep dime to Deontay Harris and Taysom Hill. He didn't look good. He threw a couple interceptions. Today, working with the number two, Jameis Winston had 2 touchdowns in the red zone. Taysom didn't have a great practice, but it really does flip and flop throughout the practices. It's just been kind of inconsistent. And you asked me today who'd be the starter. I don't know, man. It's a toss-up, but I would lean towards Jameis right now.
That really surprises me. I mean, I watched it. They put Taysom out there as the backup quarterback last year when Drew went down, but I just find it hard to see a world where he's a starting quarterback for a 17-game season. You really think that's a distinct possibility?
I really think that the one thing with Taysom is his accuracy. That down the field, and sometimes it's just a zip on the ball. He throws the ball a little behind. The short passes, he's absolutely overthrowing it and throwing it a little harder than he should, especially on the dump-off passes. And it's just going through his progressions. And yes, to be fair, he has gotten better about going through his progressions during this training camp. But what will it look like you said, if he had to start for 17 games, never being a starter for an entire season? And that's not fair because he hasn't had a chance to start an entire season. But he has gotten better with his progressions this training camp. But I would think that Jameis, being the 5,000-yard passer he was last time he started, yes, he had interception problems, but he is more seasoned to be the starting quarterback in Sean Payton's system, just from what I've watched so far.
All right, let's move to Mike Thomas. We've talked about this a little bit. Most situations that involve money, this is not a money issue. This is a trust and a communication issue. How quickly can they get this resolved, or can they?
Well, first of all, he's not going to be on the field for pretty much half the season after having that surgery in June, and that's a big blow, knowing that you're trying to bring in a new quarterback into the mix, and that hurts. That really does hurt. And they paid him top dollar a few years ago. He was tight with Sean Payton, and then last year he had that injury in the first game of the season against Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the end of the game when the Saints were up big with 2 minutes left, and maybe we don't know his side of the story, as you know, Hunt. It's my side, your side, and the truth. Maybe he feels a little resentment from that injury because he got hurt and at the end of the game when he shouldn't have probably gotten hurt. They were trying to run up the score. He comes back and he's not as healthy. And they had that incident where he got into an argument with Peyton and C.J. Gardner-Johnson and handed him a one-game suspension. It just hasn't been the same since the 2019 season for Michael Thomas. And the report came out late last night that they're trying to mend the fences. Now, how much can they mend the fences? That's, the question to be asked. And what happens with the teammates, too, because a lot of the teammates are probably not happy with him. Actually, I'm not saying probably they aren't happy with him, with how everything was handled. But we don't know his entire side of the story. He just delayed having a surgery that he was told to have back in February or March. So they need to mend the fences because a trade with Michael Thomas is going to be tough. The dead money would be $33 million if you do it this year. You'd have to pay like $9 this year and $23-24 next year. That's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow for the Saints when it comes to dead caps. They just can't have it right now. I know they're wizards at cleaning that up, but you paid a top receiver top dollars a couple of years ago. You need to have him at least play some games and see where he's at. But I think Sean and Mike can at least try to mend the fences. Now, I don't know if it'll get back to where it was. That's the big question to be asked.
Hey, with all the chaos going on this training camp for the Saints, do you think the front office is going to make any more roster moves before week one?
They need to make a roster move. I would say the biggest roster move they need to make would be outside cornerback, because we don't know when, or it feels like it's not if, it's when Marshawn Lattimore you think is going to get suspended, because he got arrested for having a possession of a stolen gun. I mean, I don't know how you avoid not getting suspended for that unless the case gets thrown out. But the NFL could come back and say, hey, we need, to discipline you for making the league look bad. But they still needed a cornerback on the opposite side. And with Patrick Robinson retiring, that really doesn't help. And then all you have right now is Ken Crawley, who, by the way, has had a pretty decent camp up to this point. And the rookie Paulson Adebo, who's showed some flashes so far in this camp, and Prince Amukamara. And that's all you have right now. They need to address that position in a very, very bad way. I mean, I can't underestimate how much they need to address that position. That is the biggest position of need. Sean Payton has mentioned it multiple times throughout this training camp. It is a must. So I'm assuming Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis are maybe actively trying to trade for someone. You saw the C.J. Henderson was on the block. Maybe they can trade for him. I don't know what the Jaguars are going to ask for him. I know they have plenty of defensive backs on their team. I'm not sure they're going to ask for multiple ones, but they need to certainly get another lockdown corner opposite of Marshawn, and especially if he gets suspended, they're going to need two cornerbacks out there, and they're going to need to have some depth behind those cornerbacks. So, yes, that is the number one position of need, and maybe defensive tackle with the loss of Rankins, the loss of Malcolm Brown, and then Malcolm Roach went down yesterday. We don't know how severe that injury was. So they just keep on taking hits, Jeremy. I mean, it's just certainly been a crazy training camp and offseason so far for the Saints. One that, David Onyemata, how can I forget him? He's suspended for the first 6 games of the season. So this is something the Saints haven't dealt with before, on top of not having Drew Brees.
Yeah, so I'll piggyback off of that. Obviously, losing Drew Brees, that's a huge loss for the Saints. What does Sean Payton do with this offense next year to keep them competitive in the fall?
They got to go through this first season with they got to go through this season with whoever's going to be the starting quarterback, and maybe he surprises people. You know, Sean Payton is a guy who loves the challenges. Whenever Drew Brees went down a few seasons ago, Teddy Bridgewater came in and he led them to, a perfect record without Drew Brees on the field. And everyone's like, I don't know how the Saints are going to get through Seattle and the next 4 teams without Drew Brees. Those are some tough games. They won all those games. Then last year he goes down in a pandemic season, and they're like, how is Taysom Hill going to beat these teams? He hasn't really started at quarterback, hasn't done a good job. Now, may I tell you that the running game, the offensive line, solid, defense, very solid last year. So he likes the challenge, Jeremy. He is going to like the challenge. A lot of people are going to underestimate him and how is he going to get through this season without having Drew Brees. I think he'll find a way. He's got the offensive line. He's got Alvin Kamara. He's got Latavius Murray. A smart person would say to themselves, we are going to lean on the line to block for those 2 running backs. As you know, you played running back. You lean on your offensive line. You lean on your running backs. You lean on your stars that you have to get through it. And if it's Jameis, you don't ask Jameis to throw for 5,000 yards. You ask him to throw 3,500, 25 touchdowns, and maybe try to keep those interceptions down to 10, 11 interceptions. It's as simple as that. That's what you try to look for, and you let your defense do as much as possible. That's pretty much what his game plan is probably going to be, not to overextend Jameis if he's the starting quarterback or Taysom if he's the starting quarterback. Just let the guys on the team right now that can help you manage this game and make sure you can win games without making any kind of mistakes.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU, joining us here on Hunt and Hill. You mentioned that offensive line, Sharif. The Ruiz-McCoy dynamic there in the middle, there were some issues last year. How does that look early in camp?
Well, last year, there wasn't really an offseason for Ruiz to even get any kind of reps, and the funkiness of the training camp, and it was just all out of whack. He even admitted that, that kind of threw him for a loop, and he had issues like making that transition from center to guard whenever he left Michigan. But so far, so good. Both guys have graded out pretty well, especially this training camp. I mean, McCoy was always solid playing center, and Ruiz is starting to really catch on playing guard. And that's the one strength of this team. It's that offensive line, and I feel like that's been the strength of this team since the 17 season when they've taken the run, winning these 11, 12, 13 games, 12 games last season. So that offensive line has gotten better, and they're young, with the exception of Teron Armstead. So they're in good shape. The key, of course, is number 75, Andrew Speed. He has got to stay healthy. He cannot go down with a pestering injury that he's had almost every single season. And yes, Teron Armstead also can't go down. He gets frustrated whenever he gets injured because he wants to play that full season. He hasn't played a full season yet. I think that's the most frustrating thing for him because he wants to play, and he plays with an injury sometimes, and he's fine to do that. But he wants to play a healthy season. But Pete certainly has to be as healthy as possible in order for this offensive line to continue chugging along.
Preseason game number 1, Saints and Ravens coming up. Obviously, we've dropped a preseason game and added a regular season game. We had kind of a rhythm of the Sean Payton era of what he was going to do game to game in the preseason. Does that change with it just being 3 preseason games? And what do you expect to see in this first one?
Both quarterbacks will play, and the next 2 games. Whoever starts this game will not start the next game. So they're going to get, I'd say both of them will play a quarter each, and then you go to Ian Book and Trevor Siemian after that. So if Jameis starts this game, Taysom will start the next game against the Jags on Monday Night Football. And he also said that he is going to go no more than 18 to 29 snaps for each player. They want to make sure they limit the snaps because it's going to be a long, long, long season, Hunt. They've already taken a lot of beat downs with injuries, and they just can't afford to get any more injuries in the critical spots on this team. So they're going to play it with 2 quarterbacks, and this battle is going to go throughout these 3 preseason games. They're going to have to see both quarterbacks in the 3 games before they even make a decision. And I'm sure Sean won't make that decision on who will start against the Packers until that Wednesday of game week.
All right, one more. We'll get you out of here on this one. This one you can't answer, but I'm just going to ask you kind of what you've been hearing. Obviously, Jazz Fest canceled. The Saints are supposed to have a full Superdome for the first preseason game here coming up. What do we think about capacity for the Superdome this fall?
From my understanding, as of right now, from what I was from what I've heard, that it will be full capacity, and it will be masks, and then it will be, I know it's going to be proof of vaccination. They're going to have to find a way to clear that hurdle and see how that works. That's from what I heard, and from my understanding, that's what it's going to be as of right now. Could change, but if you change the capacity of the Dome, that means you're going to have to change a lot of the capacity of restaurants and all the other businesses and throughout the city. So I don't know. That's a tough way to handle things, especially economically. But health obviously is the number one concern. So during the surge here, it's crazy. It's just crazy, ridiculous right now. And you got to make sure that the health is the number one concern. But that's what I heard. The capacity remains the same, but it's going to be masks and proof of vaccinations. Now we're a week away from that first preseason game at home against the Jaguars, so we'll see.
We'll be having you on throughout the year. We appreciate the help, Sharif.
Anything for you, Hunt and Jeremy.
My guy, Sharif Ishak from WDSU. You know, it's interesting. I think the beacon of hope for the Saints is that offensive line. If they can keep Jameis upright, I just don't believe Taysom's going to be the quarterback. If they can keep Jameis upright and run the football a little bit, maybe they can hold this thing together until potentially Thomas or Lattimore came back. We'll see, but it's not the sunniest place in the world down there in Metairie, and the bad news just keeps on coming. But they'll get out on the field this weekend against the Ravens, and we'll have something to actually talk about other than practice. Let's take a timeout, come back, talking a little bit more LSU. One position group in particular that gives me a ton of optimism. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Middle Relief, and after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Computer all the time. Sam Adams Boston Lager. The Boston Beer Company, Boston, Massachusetts. Drink responsibly.
Howdy, y'all. I'm hearing a lot of squabbling over who has the best chicken sandwich, but as the restaurant with chicken in our name, we let our sandwiches do the talking. The KFC chicken sandwich has a huge, breaded, and extra crispy 100% white meat chicken filet, thick crinkle-cut pickles, and real mayo in classic or spicy, stacked on a toasted, buttery brioche bun for only $3.99. So what are you waiting for? Order the KFC sandwich on the KFC app today. At participating locations only, prices may vary, tax extra.
Hey, y'all, it's Marty Smith. Join Ryan McGee. Hey, that's me. And me for Marty and McGee, Saturday mornings, 7, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Insurance companies know who Peyton Murphy is and know he will fight for maximum value for your injury. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Tigers back on the practice field. Zach Von Rosenberg gives us a practice report, and we chat with new Pelicans guard Garrett Temple. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
About 25 minutes till we meet a couple more freshmen, and at 1:15 debut a new segment, Throwback Thursday, going into the old LSU vault, going on a deep dive into a game. I hope you all enjoy that. I certainly enjoyed putting it together, so looking forward to that. But in this segment, I teased it, a position group that's got me feeling exceptionally confident on this crew is the special teams. And LSU traditionally has been very good on special teams. In Coach O's first year, he elected not to have a special teams coordinator. He wanted to do it with grad assistants and just kind of make it work. It blew up in his face. They were not good on any level of special teams, and it hurt him. That's been cleaned up. And right now, I couldn't feel really more confident in most of what they will do on the special teams. And it starts with Cade York, who is maybe the best kicker in the history of the school. I could make that claim. Certainly there have been some great ones. We've had a run of really good kickers. Drew Alamon was there for a little bit of time. Josh Jasper was an All-American, was excellent. Colby Delahousie did a good job. Of course, who can forget Cole Tracy in his 1 year here in Baton Rouge. But York is about as good as they come. I have a really good relationship. My mom is godmother to Arthur Carmody. Arthur's from Shreveport, was 3 years older than me, went to Louisville during the Petrino era, when the Brian Brom era, set a bunch of records and won the Groza Award. He's since announced the Groza Award winner, and he just loves kicking and has an eye for it. And he is on the Independence Bowl committee and has come down and watched LSU, and he's told me that Cade York's one of the best college kickers he's ever seen. Wow. And it shows. I mean, last year he was fantastic. He connected on 86% of his field goals. He had 6 field goals of 50 yards or longer. We know what happened in the swamp for 57. And really, Jeremy, that changes your entire approach as a play caller in an offense when you've got a kicker that's cash once you get inside 55 yards.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. I think as casuals and as fans, they don't really get too excited about special teams. But trust me, as a player, I know how important it is. I've lost games from field goals. I've seen it time and time again. And to have a guy who's automatic is so important for a football team, and especially an offensive coordinator. You know, hey, we just got to get to the 34. Hey, we just got to get to the 35, and we're good. It makes you game plan, and especially in-game adjustments. It makes them go by way easier for you as a team. And Cade, I know it's another thing that's overlooked, but to not miss a extra point, 36 for 36, that's impressive, man. And those are, you miss those in close games, you lose them. So you can't ever overcount having a great kicker like him, and I'm excited to watch him ball out this fall.
Now, he is not totally automatic. He will, every once in a while, not deliver the desired result. This next guy I want to talk about is essentially automatic, and that is Avery Atkins, who is going to be handling the kickoff duties again, and he is so money at just absolutely rocketing the ball out of the back of the end zone. He led the nation in touchbacks last year with 110. 110 of his 131 kickoffs went for touchbacks, and sometimes when they don't, and that was in 19. So sometimes they call for him to squib it or whatever, but he's just about automatic when you want to bang it out of the back of the end zone, and that, to me, is the way to do it. When Les was here, Matt and I talked about it last week. He wanted to try to pooch it and sky it and pin it inside the 5 between the hash and the sideline, and half the time it went awry. Look, we got good defensive players at LSU. Give the other team the ball at the 25-yard line and let them go. And that's what Avery Atkins does. I love it.
Yeah, I sat in a lot of those special teams meetings and with Coach Miles, and I think he just kind of wanted a big hit or a turnover. That's kind of why we sky kicked it a lot of times. Got guys like Daniil Hunter running down there on kickoff, which is crazy to even think about. But Avery, man, it's great to have that. I think another thing that goes undervalued is field position.
Yep.
When you got a guy who can pin people back and you're starting from your own 20 every single drive, it makes it tough to score touchdowns, especially with the defense we're going to be running out there this year. So, Avery, man, keep balling out, man. I'm excited for you.
So those two guys, rock solid. Now we move to a bit of an unknown. Peyton Todd is likely going to be the punter. He's out of West Monroe, very highly thought of. It's been Zach von Rosenberg for seems like eons at this point, but he's finally moved along, and Peyton Todd is going to come in and handle that. That's something you just can't know until they get out there and the nerves start going, how they handle it. You can look at him on YouTube all you want, look at his high school averages and statistics, watch him out there in practice booming them. Until the nerves start going, we'll have to see. But you mentioned it. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's definitely a big deal. And Coach O did a great job recruiting and filling that need. Zach was an amazing punter for us who just had a sensational career. And that's a big hole you lose. So you definitely got to refill that. And I think Peyton can come in there and really get the job done. I've watched him punt all throughout camp, and he can skyrocket that ball, man. The kid can really punt the ball. So hopefully he can just stay consistent and continue to push teams back and call for corner some people. And it's going to be a good year for him.
Quinn Skinner, long snapper, the third Buford High School graduate in a row to do it after now I'm blanking on their names. After the Fergusons moved along. And so he did everything well last year. We expect that to be the same. Now we get to the fun stuff. Return game.
Yep.
And I'll say this. I went out there on Tuesday. My days are just shot. On Tuesday, I went out there. And the first group I saw coming through on kickoff return while they were working on it was Trey Palmer and Corey Kiner. Kiner's a little bigger, more physical of the running back group. And then obviously we know what Trey Palmer can do. I want cousin Trey returning kickoffs and punts. I think it's the best way to get the ball in his hands. I think he's shown he can do it. He has returned 2 for touchdowns, 1 kickoff and 1 punt. And he has returned another kickoff for a touchdown that got called back. I love the speed. I love the playmaking ability. You've got him on the roster, and it feels like, as we talked about in the first segment, there are so many wide receivers that he may not get a ton of touches there. This is an easy way to do it. And I don't need you to put Stingley back there and compromise him. Plus, he hasn't done an all-world job. He's good at it, but he's not all-world at it. I want Trey Palmer back there. Your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that sentiment. I think he can fill that Skylar Green role where if he is on offense, he's getting the jet sweeps and the reverses and things of that nature, but he's a sensational return specialist. That kid can really run, and he has a natural knack for returning balls, and that's something you can't really teach. You either have it or you don't, and he's one of those kids who has it. So I definitely want to see him getting the bulk or the majority of the returns. Unless a team is backed up in their own red zone and Derek has a chance to return it, I really don't want him back there, honestly. I want him locking up team's number 1 receiver and really playing a lot of defensive snaps. So hopefully Trey can really lock that job down because he does a great job at returning.
Something Les did in his time that I haven't really seen O do, but it's certainly an option, is have one guy back there who you feel like can make a play if you've got a lot of field to work with. If a pooch punt's coming and you really need somebody to secure the ball and you don't feel that comfortable with Trey doing it, then put Stingley back there. Say, hey, fair catch this one. It's going to be somewhere between the 22 and the 8. Let's just make the catch and we'll lose this field position battle and we'll move forward. I'd be fine with that. Also on kick return, the next group I saw run through after Trey Palmer and Corey Kiner was Keyshawn Butte and Sage Ryan. I saw those two guys. Your thoughts on those guys as return specialists?
Yeah, I don't want to see Keyshawn back there. I need him being our number 1 receiver on the outside making plays. Sage is young. If that's something he can do, I really didn't see him doing much punt returning in high school, but maybe he can do that. He's a heck of an athlete, so not saying that he can't, but I just think Trey's light years above everyone right now. He has the experience. He has the speed. And I think he's really going to be the guy to be back there.
I prioritize speed in that spot. And, I love Nick Brissett. He was a 1,000-yard rusher at LSU. I didn't need him running kickoffs back. And he was the kickoff returner. I just didn't feel like we were going to pop one when that was the case. And at this point, try to make a play. I'm all about Trey Palmer. Your thoughts on what the primary thing is for the kickoff returner?
Yeah, I think make you miss because you're definitely going to have to make a couple people miss, and then speed too, like you said. That's going to get you running away from those guys who are fighting off blocks, and that's going to be the difference, really. I've seen so many guys get caught on kick returns. If you got speed, that's not going to happen. So definitely, I think Trey checks all those boxes, so I think he'd just definitely be the guy.
How often do they work on special teams live? Not like just the specialists over there kicking, not like, I mean, when I went over there, they were setting up and they were shooting a jugs machine out, catching it and sprinting 20 yards. Like, that's not live. Like, kicking team, return team, let's go.
Never go live. Only thing you probably do live is punt return, but you really kind of pull up when you get to the last minute. There's not really, I can't remember high school, college, NFL really where you actually tackle during a kickoff or kick return drills. Kind of you normally fit up and you kind of, it's not really full speed. So it's, like I said, the guys who do have the experience doing it in game, I think they're going to be ahead because they have the experience doing it, because you really can't ever go live at practice.
Because that's interesting, because the punt return, like, that's the thing. You got guys breathing down your throat, and you got to realize that and make the catch. If you can't work on that, which I understand because it's really dangerous, I understand why it's difficult sometimes for coaches not to trust somebody to go out there because you drop that thing, it's a 55-yard loss of yardage. It's plus the ball. That's no bueno. So that's I love the LSU special teams. I think that group's going to be sensational, and you should have a great special teams unit with LSU. As much athletes as you have, as many options you had, it should be really good. So pumped about that. All right, a couple of ESPN articles. We try to get outside the bubble in the last segment of the first hour. What do they think about LSU? They think they could be a breakthrough. Jerry Palm's got bowl projections. What does he think? That's next on Hunt and Hill.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jdacody.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
About our friends over at Pluckers with 2 locations. Nicholson just out the campus, Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana with 24 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice cold draft beer, full service bar, and sports on TV. There's something going on at Pluckers every night of the week. Every Monday is all you can eat wings. Tuesday, kids eat free. Wednesday, trivia. Thursday, all you can eat boneless wings. It's always a great night to get by Pluckers. Nicholson or Bluebonnet, remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Hey, it's Dorian Noka. Join me and Mel Kiper Jr. for Dorian Mel Saturday mornings at 8 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Insurance companies know who Peyton Murphy is and know he will fight for maximum value for your injury. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench. Give you the biggest storylines to be on the lookout for as LSU prepares for their first camp scrimmage. We'll also get you set for the Saints' first preseason game and a brand new tier list. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, we've pumped enough sunshine, and your special teams are going to be awesome. All the receivers are good. Just a great time to be alive. But sometimes you got to step out the bubble and see what people think on the outside looking in. And Jerry Palm released for CBS Sports his first bowl projections. Not that that means a whole lot, but it's interesting to look at. He's got in the playoff Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Oklahoma. Really stepping outside the box there, Jerry Palm. But in his 5th and 6th spots, he's got the Texas A&M Aggies at 5 and LSU at 6. Predicts the Tigers to play against Notre Dame in the Peach Bowl, A&M to get into the Fiesta Bowl against Cincinnati. So, you're coming off a 5-5 year. A lot of people think that, the 19 was a flash in the pan. It's, Ogeron not going to get it done. All of a sudden, you got a guy who thinks they're going to obviously win a lot of games if they're going to be 6th in the final playoff standings.
Yeah, that means we're going to win a lot of games and we're going to be competitive in a lot of games. And I tend to agree with him. I know we're pumping a lot of sunshine right now. It's that time of the year. Optimism is extremely high, but I just think there's so much talent on this roster, and you hear everyone from outside of Tiger Town, they speak about the talent we have on the roster. There's so many guys, young and old, veteran guys, young guys who can come in and make plays. It's really going to be if we can bolster that defense and really let Max kind of take over that shine, and I think he can. I think he's poised and ready to be that quarterback we all know he can be. And if the defense plays any better than they did last year, we're going to be a lot more competitive. So I tend to agree with him.
Says something about Texas A&M, too. People are buying. I'm just telling you and Hester, some people are buying. I'm just laying it out there. Bill Connolly, also at the ESPN, wrote an article about the breakthrough teams and the teams that are going to take a step back in college football based on last year's results. And when he talks about teams that are going to bounce back, he's got number 1 as Michigan, who was atrocious last year. They went 2-4 and were awful. But he has LSU listed at number 2. That's another guy at ESPN, no dog in the fight, says that he thinks LSU is going to bounce back. Look, I don't think any of this is breaking news. He's got some algorithm and a formula that puts a number on things. It's S&P plus. I don't really know how it works, but it's for adjusted points per game. And we went from first with 33.1 adjusted points per game to 45th with 5.6. Do I know what that means? No, I don't. But it means that Bill Connolly thinks that LSU is going to bounce back. The obvious thing is that there's just so much talent down here. And when you recruit at the level LSU does, you're pretty much expected to have a good year until you don't.
Yeah, that's definitely. I agree. I think he has us at 7 wins. I think that's a little low for an improved season for what the Tigers normally expect for us on a year in and year out basis. But 5 wins that's just inexcusable. I think we can play so much better than that, especially with the defense we played last year. So I agree. We're gonna have a bounce back season. It's just a matter of how much of a bounce back season it will be. I'm gonna go. I think we can get 10 wins. I think we can go 10-2. I think that's very doable.
It's a very common take that we can get to 10 wins. And look, it's not a function of me that I think there are massive holes and problems with this team. It's just a function of they play a lot of good teams. Could LSU be really good this year, have a really strong team, lose to Alabama on the road, lose a game to Texas A&M, and beat Auburn and Florida and drop a game on the road to Ole Miss? Like, could that happen? yeah, that's 9-3, and that wouldn't get anybody all fired up around here. But the fact of the matter is, it's possible because the teams are pretty good. So yeah, we'll see. That's why it's fun. It's a talking season. I can't wait to turn the corner and get to talking about real opponents. But we'll close the door here on hour number 1. Loaded hour number 2. We'll come back. We'll meet the freshmen. 2 more in this Tiger freshman class. And then I'm really excited at 1:15 for y'all to get a look at this. It'll probably be actually closer to 1:10. We're going to do Throwback Thursday. We're going to take a deep dive, a deep look at LSU and Tennessee from 2000. There's a lot of interesting stories, a lot of things that I had forgotten that went back and looked at. It should be a lot of fun. We're going to try to do that every single week, so I'm looking forward very much to that. Then Michael Ford, LSU former running back, will join us at 1:30. We'll do some take it or leave it to close things out as we generally do. So take a quick time out. Come back on the other side of this. It's Hunt and Hill.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person. Connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Vehicles. Tell us about that.
Yes, we do, Michelle. If you log on to AcuraBR.com, you'll be able to see all of our pre-owned vehicles, and the price you see on the site is the price you'll get. We care about making the car buying experience as easy on our customers as possible, which is why we offer the Sabri Group Fair price.
Acura Baton Rouge, located on Airline Highway just south of Seagan, online at AcuraBR.com.
When you've been in the industry for over 20 years, you learn a few things. For one thing, you learn your product inside and out, but you also learn how to ask the right questions and give satisfying answers. Jim's Firearms.
Insurance claims must be properly documented, and insurance statistics prove that having the right attorney can make all the difference in the world. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
Offices in Baton Rouge.
1045 WNXX Jackson, 1049 KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. This is Hunt and Hill on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
1 hour down, one more to go here on Hunt and Hill. And you know what time it is. 1 o'clock. This is what we do at 1 o'clock.
Meet the freshmen. Freshmen. Meet the freshmen. They're the newest Tigers on the team.
2 more freshmen for you. Numbers 7 and 8 on our list. We'll start today with Corey Kiner. You can tell who's picking these, by the way, the last 2 days. We've had a couple of running backs. I'm just saying. Corey Kiner, 5'10", 210 pounds from Cincinnati. He was Mr. Ohio football up there in Cincinnati. Some former winners of that award, Maurice Clarett, Mitch Trubisky, and Joe Burrow, Mr. Ohio football. So Corey Kiner, he in the summer of 2019, he got offers from Ohio State, Minnesota, Arkansas. Then Texas A&M came along early in 2020. LSU offered him March 28th of 2020, which is right at the beginning of the shutdown. He committed 2 months later in the middle of May, and then obviously wasn't making any visits or anything after that. Stuck with it and signed with LSU in December. What have you seen from Corey Kiner?
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Spencer Ware a little bit, kind of a shorter guy who runs behind his pads, has more speed than you would think. And he's tough, man. That kid really runs between the tackles, and especially for his height and weight, he runs behind his pads. So I definitely he's going to be in the rotation this year as well. I definitely think they're going to find ways to get him to get the ball in his hands, and I'm excited to see what he can do with it.
He's a 4-star, was the number 10 running back in the country, was the number 7 player in the state of Ohio, which is a very football-rich state, and was the number 160 player nationally. You said it. Armani Goodwin and Corey Kiner are attached to the hip here because they're the two new running backs, and it's a fairly thin room. Goodwin, as we talked about yesterday, short in stature, real shifty. That's kind of his game. Kiner's a little bigger, a little bit more physical. I mentioned in the special team segment we did in the first hour that he was back there with Trey Palmer, potentially as a guy who may throw that first lead block because he is physical, but certainly if they kicked it to him, can make plays with the football. He's a little bit more traditional tailback than Goodwin, who's a sprinter. Kiner's more physical, like you said. He's going to be more between the tackles type of guy. Now that we're talking about our second running back, I personally think John Emery is the guy. Ty Davis Price has missed a little practice time this week. He should be back next week, I'm told. But I think Emery's primed for a huge year. They're going to try to get Ty Davis Price the ball. How active do you expect Corey Kiner to be in this offense?
Yeah, I'm not sure at this point. Right now, just what my eyes have seen, Emery and Goodwin have popped the most for me. Okay. I think those two guys are probably in the lead right now. The guys who I would give the most touches to, find a way to get the ball in their hands the most because they've just made the most explosive plays, in my opinion. Not saying that Kiner hasn't or can't. He's not capable, but not to this point, at least what I've seen at practice. So, but I'm not saying he can. I think he can definitely come in there and have his physical presence, especially third and short, fourth and short situations where you need a couple yards to get. He can be that tough runner to go in there and get those yards. So I'm going to keep watching them, man. I'm excited about these young running backs. I'm going to keep watching them, and hopefully Corey can kind of move his way up that depth chart.
You get through UCLA in the opener, and then you've got games against McNeese and Central Michigan that you should win very easily at home. How big are those for some of these guys down the depth chart?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. I remember early on in my career, I think my first reps and plays were against those type of teams. I didn't just jump in there against the Alabamas, against the Floridas. I kind of got my feet wet against those type of teams when we're up by a lot. The pressure isn't as much. And you can kind of just feel the rhythm of being out there on the field and being out there with your teammates. So I think those are going to be big opportunities early on for them to get carries because especially if you're up in the game, you're going to be running the ball, trying to ice that clock. And that's probably the best time for a running back to really get their feet wet.
Is that more valuable playing against McNeese than it is in practice, or would you say the practice reps you get are more reflective of what things are going to look like?
I think it's a little bit of both. You can't have all one without the
Yeah.
other. I think you got to go out there and practice and get the rhythm down, get the timing down, get the handoffs, just feel comfortable hearing the plays, knowing where to go, knowing the checks, knowing the audibles, and then you kind of get to do a test run in the game. So that's going to be big for them. Like I said early on in the year, get that confidence. So when you get later in the season and you do have to step in against Alabama, it's not that big of a shock to you.
All right, second freshman on the list today is Xavier Carter. Not that Xavier Carter. I don't expect this Xavier Carter to take a knee at the 1-yard line against Georgia. Also don't expect him to go run in the Olympics anytime soon. But he's a heck of an athlete. Xavier Carter, a 6'4", 195-pound outside linebacker from Atlanta, Georgia. 6'4", 195, skinny, long and lean at this point, but he's a pass rusher. He's a 4-star recruit, number 19 player in the state of Georgia, the number 24 linebacker in the country. Number 216 nationally. This is an edge rusher. O loves these guys. He can get them. If they're long and lean, that's okay. He can put some weight on them, but he likes the way that these guys have long arms, long limbs. They can bend around the edge, and that's what Xavier Carter is. LSU offered him in May of 2019, May 1st of 2019. They were kind of first to the party of the big schools. Mississippi State, Alabama, Florida State, Oregon, Oklahoma all followed suit, and coincidentally, exactly a year after he was offered on May 1st of 2020, Xavier Carter committed to LSU and stuck with that commitment through signing day. So not a guy we've seen a ton of, but your thought on that type of recruiting, trying to get these athletes that can run and put some weight on them so they can rush the passer.
I love it. Been in NFL for 5 years. Those are the guys who got home the most. The ball's getting out so fast. You need guys with speed coming off that edge to get to the quarterback as fast as possible, because that's what every offensive coordinator is telling their quarterback: get the ball out, get the ball out, get the ball out. So if you got guys who can really come off that edge and get there in less than 2-3 seconds, it's going to make their life miserable as a quarterback. And watching him doing the pass rush drills, he kind of reminded me of Barkevious Mingo.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
Yep. That's my comparison. That's my comp to him. Just a long, skinny, athletic dude, but can really play football. You look at him and think they're lean, but they're definitely mean with it too. So I definitely see him being in that mold. I don't know how soon he's going to play. We have so much depth in that D-line room. But he's definitely, I'll be looking for him in the future for sure.
Well, that's the point. It's like you've got Andre Anthony and Ali Gay in their last years. You've got B.J. Ojolari, who you feel like is good at coming off the edge. A guy like Xavier Carter, who comes in at 195 pounds, well, he's got 15 months to put on weight before he really needs to try to break into the rotation his second year. And if all of a sudden the guy is 6'4", 195 shows up and he's 6'4", 225, 230, and that's 30 pounds, but it can be done over time. And so that's what he's looking for. Not a guy you got to get to the field immediately. You've got plenty of depth there. Just a guy that you can put some weight on. You mentioned Kiki Mingo. He ran anchor for West Monroe's 4x1 in high school.
Yeah.
Like he was the anchor leg.
Yeah.
Showed up real skinny. He actually, I think, redshirted a year, if I'm not mistaken. Then by the time he was out there playing, he was a terror on the edge because of that speed. So that's kind of the guy that you're looking for. So Corey Kiner, Xavier Carter, numbers 7 and 8 in our Meet the Freshman series. We're going to take a timeout right now and quick on this segment because the next one may run long. I'm excited about this. I hope you all enjoy it. When we come back, we'll do our first Throwback Thursday, which we're going to try to do every single Thursday, looking into the vault at an old-time LSU game. We're doing 2000 Tennessee. I learned a lot doing this research. I was up till midnight last night doing it. So I hope you'll enjoy. That's next on Hunting Hill.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Guess what that looks like? Oh, we ain't got a team player here.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Dorian Oka. Join me and Mel Kiper Jr. for Dorian Mel Saturday mornings at 8 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Coming up on a Thursday edition of Early Line with Mario and Musso, we look ahead to the weekend's action and continue to get ready for the upcoming football season with some more NFL and college football win totals. Tune in 2 to 3 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here on Hunt and Hill, Michael Ford coming up in about 20 minutes from right now. We'll ask him why he stepped out of bounds in Tuscaloosa. Why? Among other things. We're excited to have Michael on. But before we do that, we're debuting a new segment here. I've teased it a couple of times. We're going to jump in the time machine.
Throwback Thursday.
Now he's going to roll back to the near side, and he's going to throw it. Oh, it's going to be caught! Caught! Touchdown! Holy cow!
Hunt and Hill's Throwback Thursday.
Do this every single week, going back in the time machine, a great game in LSU history. We're going to go back in this one to September 30th, 2000. Number 11, Tennessee, heading to Baton Rouge to take on the Fighting Tigers of LSU. And I want to set the scene for you before we dive deeply into this game. LSU at this point is in year 2 under Nick Saban. They went 8-4 in Saban's first year and won the Peach Bowl. But in the 90s, LSU was 58-1. It's very difficult for a lot of people, certainly ones younger than me, to understand that LSU could go through a decade where they lost more football games than they won. But that was the case in LSU at this time. And the program now expects greatness and expects championships. At this point, you dreamt of success. You dreamt of championships. It was a passionate fan base, absolutely. But it was a fan base that had been beaten down and certainly did not have expectations of championships. They looked for opportunities to burst through on the big scene. Nick Saban had brought a new attitude, a new energy, and a solid first year after what was a disaster in 1998. So that's where LSU is at this point. To open that season, LSU blasted Western Carolina 58-0 in a game where they had just built the East Upper to Tiger Stadium, increasing the capacity to 91,600. The next week, LSU beat Houston 28-13, and at 2-0 went to Auburn and jumped out to a 10-0 lead on the Plains, but they were outscored after that 34-7 and lost the game 34-17. After that loss to Auburn, they came home and lost to UAB. In that game, Josh Booty was 15 of 38 and threw 4 interceptions, including one on LSU's last drive that set up UAB's game-winning field goal. On that play, he audibled to a high school audible with his brother Abram from Evangel and had a miscommunication and threw the interception. Also in that game, Booty hurt his ribs. Wasn't able to practice after that game leading up to Tennessee. So Rohan Davey was rumored to very likely be the starter. He hadn't played very much, only 12 attempts on the season. He had played very well against Arkansas the year prior, but hadn't played much that year. So that's where LSU is at this point. They're 2-2, coming off a loss to UAB. Tennessee, on the other hand, is at the height of Phil Fulmer's run in Knoxville. They're a year removed from a 1998 national championship. Previous to that, they had 4 years of Peyton Manning. In 1999, they had gone 9-3 and lost in the Fiesta Bowl. So Tennessee is at the top of college football. They are a power in the sport. In this season, 2000, they limped out of the gate. They won a 19-16 game against Southern Miss, and then they went to Florida and took their annual beating from the Gators. They lost that game 27-23. That was the 8th time in 10 years that Tennessee had lost to Steve Spurrier in Florida. They had a bye week and then won 70-3 over ULM. They split time in that game with A.J. Suggs, the redshirt freshman at quarterback, and true freshman Casey Clausen. So Tennessee's got 2 quarterbacks that are vying for time. LSU's got a little bit of a quarterback issue as well. Here's how we get into the football game. Tennessee's a 9-point favorite that night in Tiger Stadium. It is a perfect day in Baton Rouge. Game time kickoff temperature is about 78 degrees, and it dipped down into the low 70s for the duration of the game. It was a perfect night in Baton Rouge. And to set the scene, if LSU is 2-2 with a loss to UAB right now, that stadium is 60% full. The fan base is different than it was then. Then they were 2-2, but the energy was still there. It was a packed house. The new upper deck, Power T coming through the tunnel. And LSU's got a chance on national television Saturday night in Death Valley to play the Tennessee Vols. It was an opportunity, and it was a raucous environment on campus and in the stadium. That's a little bit different than what I believe it would be today. So we get into the game. Tennessee kicks the opening kickoff out of bounds, and LSU takes the football, and Rohan Davey takes the field with the offense. I bring this up to tell you that the crowd roars when Rohan comes out there. Jeremy, you've seen this in Tiger Stadium. Sometimes the crowd can turn. Josh Booty's performance against UAB soured him with the fan base. And Rohan Davey was a new hope. And he came on the field and the crowd roared. That's important as we move through this game. Now, Rohan, on the first drive, takes off for a 31-yard gain down the left sideline and drives LSU down. John Corbello hits a career-long 47-yard field goal to put LSU up 3-0. The Vols, 2 drives later, answer with the 47-yard field goal of their own to tie the game at 3-3. On the drive after Tennessee ties the game, Davey hits Reggie Robinson on 3rd and 13 with a rifle shot over the middle. And the next play is Dominic Davis for 9 yards on the ground, and the crowd is going nuts as the first quarter ends. At this point, you've played a quarter, it's 3-3, and the LSU fans with their 2-2 team feels like we can stand toe-to-toe with this Tennessee squad through one quarter. Decision time early in the second quarter for Nick Saban. LSU's got 4th and a foot at the Tennessee 18-yard line. He could get the field goal. He decides to go for it, and they run at Big John Henderson, one of the best players in college football, and they pick up the first down. The next play, Davey hits Josh Reed over the middle of the field, right at the goal line, and he falls into the end zone, and Tiger Stadium comes unhinged. At this point, Davey is 8 out of 10 with a touchdown, and LSU has a lead on number 11 Tennessee 10-3. Tennessee had scripted this, and they go to Casey Clausen on the next drive. He goes 3 and out and looks terrible. Almost throws a pick. Ryan Clark just about picks him off on 3rd down, and the LSU defense is buzzing. The Vols punt and pin LSU deep at their own 25-yard line, and on the first play of this drive, LeBrandon Toefield goes up the middle, cuts right, stiff arms the safety on the sideline, takes it 75 yards to the house. You're a guy who's ripped off huge runs in that stadium. You can imagine what that felt like.
Yeah, that just listening to the playback of that game, you can literally hear the difference in the crowd, especially like when he gets probably past the 40-yard line and headed to the 30. It just erupts and goes totally nuts. And I tell people all the time, it gets so loud in your ears, it causes pain in your ears. Like, it's painful how loud it is. Your eardrums are literally beating to a pulp. Like, it gets so loud. You can't hear someone 5 feet from you. So that night was a crazy night to be a Tiger fan in Tiger Nation.
So it's 17-3 Tigers with 11.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. The Vols go back to A.J. Suggs. The Clausen experiment did not work. Clausen would not play again. Tennessee goes down and gets a field goal. They make it 17-6. But LSU's offense is cooking at this point. The Tigers take the ball. They go 67 yards on 6 plays, and the patented Josh Reed bubble screen shows up. Rohan flips the ball out in the flat. He makes a guy miss right down the left sideline. Touchdown. But on this drive, Davey gets hit twice, and he starts limping. His foot and his ankle are bothering him. But he's playing great. He's 11 of 14 for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's 24-6 Tigers. They show on the TV cut John Chavis, Tennessee's defensive coordinator, is totally exasperated in the booth. They can't stop LSU. It's 24-6, and the Vols take the ball late in the second quarter, and they totally melt down. An absolute clock disaster. They drive down to LSU's 19-yard line and take their final time out of the half with 11 seconds to go. When they come back out, Suggs throws a pass out to the right flat, and it's low. And the receiver catches it for a 4-yard gain, but goes down trying to catch it. And there's 9 seconds left. They try to spot the ball. They can't. Time expires. It's halftime, and the Vols lose an easy chance to get some points with the clock botch. Adrian Karsten's on the call for ESPN. He interviews Phil Fulmer going to the locker room, and Phil Fulmer says, "We've run into a really mad football team. We thought that was going to happen. They're very talented. We got to fight in the second half." It's 24-6 at halftime. LSU's outgained Tennessee by over 120 yards. The Tigers are taking it to the number 11 Vols at this point. LSU kicks off to start the second half, and Tennessee immediately goes 3 and out. They cannot move the ball on LSU, and it feels like LSU at this point can run and hide. They've scored 3 straight touchdowns. They're getting the ball back up 24-6. On the second play, they hand off to LeBrandon Toefield. The freshman coughs the ball up, and Tennessee recovers it at the 46-yard line. Tennessee goes right down and scores. It goes from a situation where you're up 24-6 with the ball. Now it's 24-12 after a missed 2-point conversion, and Tennessee's right back in the game. LSU goes 3 and out on the next drive, and Davey is limping very noticeably. So much so that Josh Booty takes his hat off. He starts warming up. The Vols have a lot of life at this point. They're coming off a touchdown. They get a 3 and out. They show Rohan limping off the field, and Mike Gottfried, who's on the color for ESPN, says, "I think he's done. I don't think he can play anymore. He can barely walk." The Vols take over. They go 55 yards and get a field goal to make it 24-15. It's a 9-point game. LSU's offense comes back out. At this point, over the last 3 drives, they've got 1 yard and 1 turnover, and their quarterback can't really move. Davey goes back out. Josh Reed drops one over the middle, and then he's almost picked off on 3rd down. It's another 3 and out. And at this point, Ron Franklin and Mike Gottfried debate whether or not Saban is sticking with Rohan Davey just so the crowd doesn't turn. They think Saban fears if Josh Booty goes out there, the crowd will voice their displeasure. They've just seen this guy lose to UAB, and Davey's been carving number 11 in the country. Don't put this guy back out there. They don't know that. They're speculating that may be the case. That's why I bring up the huge roar when Davey took the field the first time. Incidentally, as I'm watching the TV cut, this was a funny little nugget. As they're discussing, the crawl rolls by on the bottom of the screen from 2000, and it tells me that number 1 Nebraska has gone ahead of Missouri in virtue of a 28-yard fumble return for a touchdown by Jamie Burrow. And I'm quite certain his 3-year-old brother was thrilled about that at the time. How about that? Jamie Burrow for Nebraska. Vols go 3 and out thanks to a huge Trev Falk sack. and LSU takes over deep in their own territory, up 9 at the 18-yard line. They hit a huge third down to Reggie Robinson, and that gives the crowd more life, and it takes us into the fourth quarter. You hear the bump, 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 up. Everybody's going nuts. LSU's got a 9-point lead on Tennessee. The first play of the fourth quarter is an 18-yard rocket to Robert Royal over the middle, and the third play of the fourth quarter, Josh Reed gets loose behind the defense. Davey hits him in stride, 53-yard touchdown. It's Reed's third of the game, and LSU leads 31-15 with 13 and a half minutes to play in the game. Vols are not shaken. They go 92 yards on 13 plays in a stadium that is absolutely on fire. They picked up a huge 4th and 2 in that drive. Suggs is hot. He gets smoked on the touchdown throw, but he just got it off to Bartholomew. Vols get the 2-point try, and they cut it to 8 with 9 minutes to go. LSU immediately goes 3 and out. Chavis is sending the horses at Rohan, who can barely move. Every drop back, he's limping. Every time he comes on the field, he's limping. He can barely walk, but they're leaving him out here. So the Vols get the ball down 8 with 7:16 to play, and the ball's at the 43. They try some trickeration. They throw it to the receiver. He tries to throw a double pass. It's a duck over the middle of the field, and Ryan Clark makes a diving interception in the middle of the field to give the ball back to the Tigers. And you feel like up 8, 7 minutes to go, one drive, we can put this thing away. Well, they only get one first down, and they have to punt, giving the ball back to Tennessee with 4.5 minutes to go and an 8-point lead. The Vols immediately get a 4th and 4. They convert it by a foot. The drive is methodical. It's not rushed, and with a minute and a half, they drive down, throw a little lob down to the corner. Cedric Wilson makes the catch. Demetrius Hookfin never turns around, and Tennessee is a 2-point play away from tying the game with a minute and a half to go. Of course, they get it. This is where I didn't remember this, and it really blew me away. LSU gets the ball with a minute and a half to go in a tie game. Davies' first start of the year. They're going to try to go score with their 3 timeouts to go. On first down, Rohan is called for intentional grounding, backing LSU up in the shadow of its own goalpost. It gets to 3rd and 21 from inside the 10. 3rd and 21 with a minute to go. And instead of running the draw and punting it to Tennessee so they get it at midfield, they say, look, we're going to try to go for this. Davey is under pressure, and he's hit as he throws at the 2-yard line on 3rd and 21, and he throws a seed to Josh Reed for a 23-yard gain to convert on 3rd and 21. That's the play of the game, and I didn't even remember it. No reason to try to do it, and they did. So now they're trying to cook. They get a 10-yard pass to Reggie Robinson. Then Davey throws a bullet to Jarrell Myers over the middle across midfield. He can barely get to the line of scrimmage at this point. He's skipping, hopping, hobbling, trying to get up to the line of scrimmage. There's 33 seconds to go. Next play, Davey is literally in the arms of a Tennessee defensive lineman, and he floats the ball down to the left sideline, and it's caught. They get the ball to Jarrell Myers at the 35 with 23 seconds left and 2 timeouts. So what do? They run the football, LeBrandon Tofield, all the way down to the 21-yard line. Holding. Goes from the 21-yard line back to the 41-yard line. 20-yard penalty there for holding with 16 seconds left. With 8 seconds left, Davey hits Royal over the middle with a great pass to the 29-yard line, timeout. 2 seconds left. Tennessee has 2 timeouts to play with. They ice John Corbello twice. He comes out to attempt a 46-yarder. It's blocked. We have the first overtime game in the history of Tiger Stadium. So the Vols win the toss, and they choose to play defense, and LSU says, all right, you're coming to play in front of our student section. Davey can barely move, but he hobbles out there.
The first time that LSU has been in overtime in Tiger Stadium. 2 receivers to the near side out of the I formation. Davey sends Tofield in motion to the far side and drops back to throw. Steps up in the pocket and throws towards the end zone, and it is caught! Touchdown! Robert Royal, 25-yarder.
That's why this worked out right.
Just beautiful. Right in the breadbasket to Royal, who was double covered with the safety coming over the top, and they make the play.
Yeah, that was a beautiful throw by Rohan, man. He just sat back in the pocket, took his time, and just hit Robert right in stride. And to hear that crowd just go absolutely insane, it's just such a beautiful sound to hear. I can't wait to get the fans back in the stadium, man. Death Valley has to come back alive.
So Tennessee gets the ball. They immediately get a first down to the 11-yard line. On 3rd and 3 from the 4-yard line, Damian James breaks up a pass, and Tennessee calls its timeout to set up 4th and 3 from the 4. At this point, all the students come out of the student section over the fence up against the end zone like it's a high school game. The fence is no longer in sight. It's just a mob of LSU students down on the sideline. Tennessee comes out, and Nick Saban does what he always did at LSU. Can't really do it now as much, but he did it at LSU. It's why they won the Oklahoma game at the end, and it's why they won this game. On 4th down and 3 from the 4-yard line, he sends 8 blitzers at A.J. Suggs. 8 guys coming, 3 guys in man. Damian James is one of those guys. He knocks it away, and immediately the field is flooded in humanity. Dan Bournet comes over the PA as they're trying to interview Nick Saban, and you can hear him in the background of the TV cut saying, "Folks, keep your heads up. Those goalposts are coming down." He's trying to make sure the students are looking up and don't get crashed down by the goalposts. And LSU wins the ball game and essentially slams the door on a losing decade of the 90s and the misery that was the UAB loss, and shows the beacon of light to come and opens the door on what was 20 years of championship-level football. Truly a performance that created the next 20 years.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal night in Death Valley, and a phenomenal night to be a Tiger fan in Tiger Nation. Just to see the team battle the way they did, giving up that big lead and still fighting a way, missing the kick to win the game in fourth quarter, but still finding a way in overtime. A lot of times teams get demoralized in situations like that, but it just goes to show you, team led by Coach Saban, obviously, but they fought and they never gave up, and that's what you love to see.
Rohan that day, 23 of 35 for 318 yards and 4 touchdowns. Josh Reed had 7 catches for 146 yards and 3 touchdowns. Trev Falk had 14 tackles for the defense that played exceptionally well. My only contribution to that evening was I was 12. My parents left the house, left me alone at the house to watch the game. I ordered an entire large Johnny's pizza and ate the whole thing, running around my house like an absolutely crazy person. That was my contribution to that evening. Do you have any recollection of that game growing up? You were young.
Yeah, I don't have a recollection of watching that game live. I remember kind of the more games later down the road, probably like 05, 06, heading down the line. But I definitely watched this game last night, and it was a crazy game, man. That's a wild game to be a part of.
It's a different time. And I had a lot of fun looking into that, putting together some research, seeing some things that I didn't know, didn't quite remember. And we're going to add to this. I've found out a way to go back and pull some quotes from older games. We're going to try to integrate some more highlights. The TV cut of this wasn't great, but it's something that I think could be a little bit different than what you hear. I mean, we're live and local here for 10 hours. Do something a little bit different. I think on Thursdays we can look back at some great games in Tiger history. Certainly we'll try to correlate them to that week's opponent. Not playing Tennessee this year. I thought this would be a good one to start with. So I enjoyed it. Love your feedback in the huddle. Love your feedback on Twitter. We want to hear some games that you'd like me to do a deep dive on and see what we can do to pull back from the memory bank. But now it's a little bit late. We're going to take a timeout, come back, get Michael Ford, former LSU running back. He's got some memories. We'll share those next on Hill and Hunt and Hill.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Middle Relief, and after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
For Marty and McGee, Saturday mornings, 7, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Insurance companies know who Peyton Murphy is and know he will fight for maximum value for your injury. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Tigers back on the practice field. Zach Von Rosenberg gives us a practice report, and we chat with new Pelicans guard Garrett Temple. Join us, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our pleasure now to welcome on Michael Ford. I don't have enough running backs on this show, apparently, so we'll bring in another former Tiger great tailback. Michael, thanks for some time. How are you, man?
Great. Thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure. All right, we got to do it because we've teased it for 2 days. Why'd you step out of bounds in overtime in Tuscaloosa? Stay in bounds, get in the end zone.
Man, you think I did not try to
Did you? I looked at your reaction. Clearly, you did not know you stepped out of bounds because you threw your hands in the air.
Yeah, for sure. I'm thinking to myself, how did he catch it so fast? He could have let that one slide.
I want to talk about that game because obviously it was the game of the century. It was talked up to be, and it lived up to it. It was so competitive, so back and forth. The defenses were so good. But obviously y'all had a ton of success that day with the option, you being the primary recipient of that. Was that something that y'all had put in that week? Was that something you knew was going to give them some problems? They were obviously a big physical defense. You're trying to get to the edge there?
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, like most of the time when we go in the week, we basically know what plays we're going to run and what plays are going to work. And, you know, I was the speed back at the time because German, you wasn't there that year. So Spencer Ware, me, Alpha Blue, Kenny Hilliard. So as going in that week, like you said, we knew how stout they was up front. And Spencer was hitting the hole, and then we thought coming out of half, we was like, okay, we probably can get him on the edge a little bit. And we switched the game plan.
Hey, what up, Suge, man? I think the world needs to know your nickname, Mr. Incredible himself. Back again, man. It's such a pleasure to have you on, man. Talk about the competitiveness we had in our running back room every day.
The great thing I liked about our running back room was no matter who was doing good, we didn't hate on each other. Like, even when you came in, it was a family. But like you said, man, I've never been around that many athletes in my life before, because it was you, me, Spencer Ware, Kenny Hilliard, Terrence McGee, Alfred Blue. That's 7 guys in one, and we can't forget about Ja'Cory Gore. 8 guys in one room, and we just every day, like, if we make one wrong step, coach putting in a new bag.
Yeah.
So how do you make that work? Because Hester and I have talked about this. There have been years where Leonard Fournette's the main dog and he's going to get all the carries, but I think some of LSU's best, most productive rushing seasons have been like when it was Jacob Hester and Keelan Williams and Charles Scott and rolling guys through like that. And then you were talking about your room. How do you make that work?
Coaches make that work. It got to be coaches that make that work. And I think what makes it work is like when everybody's eating and having a good game. One game it might be Jeremy, one game it might be Blue, one game it might be Spence. And I appreciated that even though Jeremy had a big game, we also got our carries too. You always see when Jeremy might have had a great game, we still had 4 backs that end up going in and getting their carries. They knew how to do a great job of just giving everybody their turn and giving everybody opportunity, even though Jeremy might have been that guy at the time.
I got you, Mike. Hey, tell me about your favorite game at home in Death Valley where you was like, man, this is live, this is crazy, the crowd's crazy, we're winning, everything's going good. What was that game for you?
Actually, wasn't winning. My first game that I was like, when I went into Tiger Stadium, was crazy. It was when Tim Tebow came. It was Florida. And we were playing Florida in Death Valley, and it was against Tim Tebow. And, I mean, the crowd was going crazy. I was like, man, this is football right here. And we went to play somebody else, and I realized that there is nowhere else like Tiger Stadium. Like, Tiger Stadium gets so loud. Even when we play Alabama at home, and they make the chant about Nick Saban and all that, I'm like, this is crazy.
Michael, how do you remember the 2011 season now that we're 10 years removed from it?
Oh, man, that was the greatest. I felt like that was the greatest time I ever had at LSU because we went undefeated. We went on to lose the national championship, but we went to the national championship. But just how all of us came together and how much fun we had as a team. And the success part is that's what makes the year so much fun because every game we're winning. And when you win, it doesn't matter what your stats are. That's fun because you have that on your back. Like, we won, and everywhere you go, you're known as a winner.
Hey, Mike, I'm gonna be real with you, man. You probably one of the more crazy athletes I've ever seen when it comes to strength, box jumps, everything, box step ups. How much did Moffitt help you with that, or you kind of went into it already crazy like you were?
I'm not sure because, like you said, it was natural for me. And when I got there, Moffitt just added an extra little on top of it, Because I think I didn't even know about it. It's a video on YouTube. Moffitt had a video of me stepping up. And somebody showed it to me like maybe 2 years ago.
All right,
go ahead.
Tell me this, 2019 LSU Tigers versus the 2011 LSU Tigers. What does that look like on the field?
2019, we're destroying the 2019 team.
The team that went 15-0, won the national championship with the Heisman Trophy, y'all are going to destroy them?
We're destroying them.
That's what I like to hear. Hester feels the same way about all his teams.
The reason I say we're destroying them is because of this. Whose defense better, 2019 or 2011?
Yeah.
Whose offense is better?
Their offense is. I'm going to say this. Their offense is better because of one coach, Joe Brady.
Yeah. He was
if you good. Put Joe Brady with 2011 team and run the same offense, we're better.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Suge. I don't know about this one, man. Hey, I don't know about this one. I'm gonna have to go with Hunt on this one, man. I don't know,
I didn't
man.
say anything.
I'm gonna go 19 because of the quarterback. I think the quarterback is what's going to really take it over the hump. When you got a first overall pick at quarterback and all those receivers, oh man, I don't know, man. I don't know. I love Jordan. I love Jared, but man, something about Smoking Joe, man.
So watch this. I get that. I respect it. He's the Heisman winner. He's the greatest player to ever come through LSU. But they don't have an offensive lineman that'll block anybody on our D line.
That 11 D line was spicy.
They're not blocking Sam Montgomery. They're not blocking Barkevious Mingo. They're not blocking Brockers. They're not blocking Benny Logan. And you telling me we got the greatest athlete to ever come through LSU, Tyrann Matthews? He's on that team.
I like the case. I didn't know what you were going to say, but I love the case. Chatting with Michael Ford here, former LSU running back who's pumping up his 2011 squad. They were fun to watch. Michael, catch everybody up on what you're up to these days now.
Oh, right now I'm doing personal training, getting the kids right, helping them, get to college and teaching them on everything that I, went through in high school, college, and the pros, and giving it back to the kids.
That's awesome, man. Hey, we really appreciate your time. Let's do this again sometime soon.
For sure.
That's Michael Ford, former LSU running back, joining us here on Hunt and Hill. Been a fast-moving second hour. I appreciate chatting with Ford. That was a little shocking.
Yeah, man. He was so confident about it. I don't know, man. Every time I think about that 19, man, it's something about Smoking Joe, man. I just don't think anyone's messing with that kid, bro. He's throwing dots and dingers out there, and he's got that swag. I don't know, man. It'd be a great game to watch. We may have to set that up on NCAA football or something.
I'm glad Joe was on my team. As long as he's in the purple and gold, I'm all good. Let's take one more time out. Close it out. It's Hunt and Hill.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Vegans or vegetarians, experience Pizza Artista. Experience amazing.
Hey, it's Dorian Oka. Join me and Mel Kiper Jr. for Dorian Mel Saturday mornings at 8 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford makes the car buying experience super easy. Shop BayouFord.com.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench. Give you the biggest storylines to be on the lookout for as LSU prepares for their first camp scrimmage. We'll also get you set for the Saints' first preseason game and a brand new tier list. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Appreciate those hanging out in the YouTube chat, debating the 2011 versus 2019 team. And I appreciate all the feedback on Throwback Thursday. Donnie Horace has a story about that game. It said, my first daughter was born early in the morning on this September the 29th of 2000. I had tickets to that game. It was a section, and my wife was still in the hospital on the morning of the 30th. She said, go ahead and go, and I did. Got back to the Lakeside Hospital in Metairie around 3 a.m. Wife was a little hot, but what can you do? Still married to the same wonderful woman, and the daughter starting her junior year of college next week. So, memorable game for Donnie. All right, let's close out the show here with something we try to get to every day. It's Take It or Leave It. Fire away, Jay Hill.
All right, man. Everyone sees my boy JR, Team Swish, enrolling in the NCANT. How are you feeling? You taking or leaving former basketball players playing golf in college?
So he went from high school to the NBA. So I think he does have eligibility left. We're talking about J.R. Smith, former NBA player. And I think, I think that's awesome. He can play. He's good at golf. He's played in some of the celebrity events. He's got a stick. He's not quite Steph Curry, but he can play. I'm all about him playing golf for North Carolina A&T. Get after it, JR. I'll take it. All right, let's see what you got here. Your Yankees are playing the White Sox in the Field of Dreams Classic in Iowa in the cornfield today. Seats 8,000 people. I think that's a cool idea. Take it or leave it.
I'm taking it. I'll take it. I'm all about the nostalgia for baseball, and I think that's a great matchup. And I think they're breaking out the throwback uniforms too. So yeah, I think that'll be a cool thing. That's a cool thing for get eyes on baseball. I know Stephen A's hating on baseball right now, but I like getting eyes on baseball.
The Black Sox and the Yankees throwback jerseys. Yeah, it should be cool. That's what the World Series was. That's what the movie Field of Dreams was based around. I think that's a great movie. You have not seen it. You're about to be the I don't see movies guy. I've been made fun of on this station for like 10 years. You haven't seen Field of Dreams. You haven't seen, what was the one a Rookie of the Year. These are classics in the sports film. You need to be watching them. So I'm going to get you for that.
Yeah, I'll get those. I got to get those done, man. I can't be the not see the movie guy, so I got to get those
I've been
watched.
doing it for 10 years, so join the club. What you got?
All right, let's do Alden Smith. So Alden Smith cut by Seattle. Do you taking or leaving? He'll get another NFL shot.
I'm going to leave that. It's just all off the field stuff, and this is off the field stuff. They've said it, and he's had some issues off the field, and he plays a position at rush end where you can get multiple shots. If you're an elite quarterback, an elite defensive end, you'll be given more shots than a guard or, like you say, a running back. But I think he's in his 30s now. He's proven he can't, keep it together off the field. I don't think he gets another shot, so I'm going to leave that. All right, Valparaiso has been the Crusaders on the field and on the court. They're changing their name to the Beacons. You taking that or leaving that?
I'm leaving that, man. That's kind of like, I don't know what's worse, Beacons or football team. Like, what's a worse? What's worse? So I think, yeah, I'm gonna leave that, man. I don't even know what kind of beacon. Like, what is that, man?
I have no idea. I just feel like Crusaders is too inflammatory, and some people are using it, and they don't want to use it, so they're taking it off. Last one here. David Carr wants to be a Raider for life. Do you have David Carr winning a Super Bowl with the Raiders?
Oh, I'm going to leave that, man. As long as Patrick Mahomes is breathing, I don't see them getting out that division. So, no, I'm going to leave that one.
That's understandable. Really, really fast-moving second hour here, and we've had a blast. Had some Meet the Freshmen to start. We did your Throwback Thursday there in the second segment. Michael Ford was fantastic. We appreciate him coming on. And that is your Take It or Leave It. In the first hour, of course, we went through some camp. Sharif Ishak talks Saints. So if you missed any and all of that, you can catch that on – you talk special teams as well. You can listen to that on YouTube. You can always catch our shows there on YouTube. You can catch it on demand at 1045ESPN.com. So we're going to go out there and check him out in pads there today. What do you expect to see today?
Oh, I expect to see a lot of jaw talking, a lot of lips moving, and then a lot of pads popping after that. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun day to watch practice.
Full recap tomorrow from noon to 2 as we wind down our first week here on Hunt and Hill. We're also excited. Going to have Chuck Oliver, King CFB from the Chuck Oliver Show. He's going to jump aboard tomorrow. We're going to talk all things SEC and national in college football. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Matt, is it 3 to 6? Jimmy 6 to 8. Next coming up is Early Line with Mario and Musso. Don't go anywhere. It's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?